Alright, so welcome back. This week on Sprague River Homestead, novice hayers are going to try and get some hay. So if you remember last week, what we said was that we had equipment on the trailer that we had to get off and get kind of some maintenance and repairs done to. So the cutter itself, we've got off, and it's a 3-point hitch. So you've got 1, 2, 3 on top to controls the height and the stabilization of it. You've also got a PTO shaft coming off that turns a pulley belt, turns this cam here, which drives this wood in and out, and then the sickle bar mower. So this is a Ford 501 sickle bar mower that we purchased used, and really other than just some oiling to make sure the blade slid across on the blade itself, it really didn't need a whole lot this morning. So thankfully, we're gonna give it a try. So Nikki's gonna get on the mower and try to mow, and I'm just gonna kind of walk and try to get just logs and anything else out of the way and keep an eye on it. So fingers crossed, we're gonna cut some hay today. So a little bit of good news and bad news. Good news is we made a couple passes down in the valley. Bad news is, well, the cutter hit a dirt mound, jammed the teeth, and unfortunately this is the bar that goes between the bracket here and the pulley to move this back and forth. Now this should be a hardwood like maybe hickory or oak, but based on smell, I think this is probably a temporary repair of just pine, and leaving it out, you can see it's kind of cracked. So it's split along here right around this eye and then that piece there. So we're going to take this off, go get a new one, and if we can't buy one of these, we'll just go get some hardwood from like Home Depot and make our own. And we also looked at the hay rake itself, so we're going to try and go get some of the fingers and get that ready to go. It looks like it'll be pretty easy to do. It's just going to take some time to invest in getting all the fingers repaired, and that there's a lot bent and some missing and all that. So we'll get that fixed up and get back to cutting and then raking this weekend. All right, so with the fix done, I'll tell you what we did. So last night we went into town trying to find an actual Pitman bar, the wood piece there that cracked yesterday. Couldn't find that, so we went, that was at our our farm improvement store called Coastal. It's like a big R, Tractor Supply, all that. So they didn't have one, so what we did is we went to Home Depot and found some hemlock, which is actually a softwood. Not what we were looking for, but they didn't have anything in oak or hickory long enough. So if you see behind, what we did is we cut it to length. I bored the end of it. There's a spring that goes in the end, and then drilled and put it in. So this is an exact-ish replacement for the Pitman bar, or whatever you want to call it, that goes on there. So we're gonna go try again, cut hay today. And this is actually stairway banister railing material. Not what we thought, but by golly, if it's gonna get us through this hay season, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. We're back in the field. She's gonna give it a try. See if it's gonna work or not. Keep your fingers crossed that nobody dies. Okay, try number 2. No! Alright, so we brought the tractor back up to the shop. And what I realized is there's this little kind of lock right there that locks these two pieces together to touch that ball. So what I think I did not have, I don't had that latched down to where that was jumping off the ball there and kind of just going back and forth without doing anything. So I think I've got it latched. I also shaved down the wood a little bit to get the pieces to fit a little bit better together. And we should be ready to roll. So let's get out and cut some hay. All right, we're gonna do a little test run here up at the close to the house in case this thing explodes. But I think I got it this time. Trial number, I don't even know. By golly, that might have actually worked. It appears we might be back in business. Now, where did I fail? I really overcomplicated it, so I thought it had some magic voodoo something to make everything work, and honestly, 1950s technology is all about getting it done, not being fancy. So I overthought it. The engineering in me made me think, hey, this should be really complicated, and it wasn't. So, point to you, keep it simple, stupid. The old KISS method.
Is really pretty thick. Through some of this it's not so much. If we can get going good underneath that tall stuff, it lays down perfect, but as soon as you get a little snag, it quits cutting all together. Just binding up in there, so I don't know, we're getting it.
The hay cutting part is in the book. So you can see behind the tractor's idling, gonna grab a last sip of water, but if you look way in the back, we have cut somewhere between 10 and 15 acres. So I'll kind of do a panoramic here around. You can see we've cut, and that's all the way down there. So who knows what yield will be. I worked yesterday morning getting the rake together, replacing a bunch of the fingers or the tines or whatever, and getting ready to go. So fingers crossed, we'll be hopefully raking in the next day or two, get that done, and maybe in the next couple of days be baling all the stuff. Now, like, I don't know if we've mentioned or not, this has never been cut before. It was BLM land before somebody owned it, and then they owned it for like 30-ish years or 20-something years and never did anything. They lived out of state, so we ended up buying it. Thought we'd give it a try cutting it this year because it was so thick, and I don't know. I'd hate to say that we're going to get a ton per acre. It could be less, but this is our land and it's kind of free, and we are reclaiming it from Mother Nature, so we'll see what happens. All right, gang, so we're going to try this again. So we put out the rake out there and tried it. We made one lap around, and I already placed the tines and all that, and one of the other arms broke. So now we were missing two arms that I had to cut the other one off. So this thing may not grow great, but we're going to try it again, and hopefully nobody dies in this. I'm serious.
It'll be me. I'm on the tractor.
It'll be her. She's driving. I'm getting the hell away from the thing. Okay, we're gonna try it here close to the house. See if this thing's gonna explode or not. Sure vibrates like hell, doesn't it? Well, by golly, that may Let's go! We're gonna make it work. Well, a little slower than what we had wanted, but it's actually working. So we're just gonna keep on making lines of hay. All right, so it's Saturday morning and we're up raking nice and early. So you can hear and see in the background, Nikki's running the tractor, and it's running first gear, really slow, but it is raking, and small adjustment on the equipment this morning, and it's running. It ain't pretty, but it's old beat up equipment, and I've had to cut a couple things off, and it's been exciting. So, but that's what sometimes you do when you pick up used equipment, and you just got to make it work to get through. So I'll rebuild it over the winter months, and we'll make it happen for next year and turn this thing really into a good hay process. So I'm gonna leave you here for this week. Just remember, always do the best with what you got. That's what homesteading is about. Sometimes you got to go to plan C because plan B just doesn't work either. So that's it for this week, and I'll leave you with this suspense of what do we actually yield off of this once we start baling, hopefully tomorrow. Keeping my fingers crossed. We will see you next time on Sprague River Homestead.